Yeah.
Yeah.
Madam Secretary. Hello,
Yep.
we have a quorum?
Yes.
Okay. This is the regular meeting of the Shade Tree Commission of the Borough of Fairhaven. In accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, public meetings may be held in person or by means of communication equipment, to include the streaming services and other online meeting platforms. This meeting is being held in person and through the Zoom meeting platform, being broadcast from Borough Hall, 748 River Road, Fairhaven, New Jersey. Public participation for this meeting on October 4th, 2023 is available by call-in phone number or through Zoom. Members of the public will be on mute until it is time for questions and comments, which will be announced at that time. The public has the opportunity to question, comment by phone or through Zoom by the raise hand button and will be called on at the appropriate time. Notice of this meeting was sent to the Asbury Park Press, the Two River Times, and the Star Ledger on January 26, 2023, posted on the Borough website, the bulletin board in the municipal building, and has remained continuously posted as required under the statute. With adequate notice having been given, the Shade Tree Commission Secretary is directed to include the statement in the minutes of the meeting, of this meeting. All right, call this meeting to order. Sorry, I jumped ahead there. Roll call, Madam
Chris
Secretary.
Larson,
Here.
Mike D'Angelo,
Here.
Leah Bigani, absent. Peter Degati,
Here.
Mike Hoey, absent. Chris McCabe, absent. Kevin McGovern, absent. Jill Sullivan.
Here.
Bonnie Torcivia. Here. And Councilwoman Cole and Borough Secretary Christy Larson are here.
Okay,
We have a quorum.
please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, did everybody have time to peruse the prior meeting minutes?
Yes, motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
And a second. All right, minutes approved. All right, we'll jump right into it. Update from Borough Tree Specialist, Mr. Bill Brooks.
Good evening, one and all.
All right,
If you want to turn the lights down now, Mr. Chairman, to get a little relief, we would all understand.
just divert your eyes.
Aye. Couple things real quickly. Monmouth County Shade Tree Commission is going to remove the trees along Ridge Road from the intersection of Harding at the east end of the bird sanctuary down to Fairhaven Road that have died. And there are a total, I believe, there were a total of 7. Homeowner took one down that was dead, a plum in front of his house. This will be accomplished prior to Thanksgiving. The stumps in all probability will not be ground out at that time, but they will do it when they are just going out doing dedicated stump grinding. So that's the one thing there. I have been introduced to the new contacts for JCP&L and their forestry division as Maureen Campbell retired. Good for her. She did it for almost 30 years for them. And there are actually 3 new foresters. I know one of them very well. He's been in the business almost as long as I have. So I think everything regarding power line trimming and any, emergency removal that requires power line assistance, power company assistance, is probably going to be pretty much seamless. I don't see any problems going forward. They're all of the opinion that what we were doing worked, so we should continue it. The trees that were taken down in conjunction with the sidewalk project that's ongoing on the north side of Ridge Road. County Shade Tree knew nothing about, so they were a little surprised about that.
Interesting. Okay.
Is it there right away?
Sure is,
Mhm.
nobody bothered to tell them. So that's not so good.
Okay.
This is
I'll
homeowners
take
to
that
come
one.
down?
What's that?
Homeowners to come down?
No, they were taken out by the town. It's a sidewalk project.
Oh, where is this?
It's going from Harrison to
Oakland, yeah.
Oaklawn North, and then it's going south, I believe, east, I believe, toward the bird sanctuary for a while, because
We'll stop at Harrison.
there were trees taken down east of Harrison.
So I was gonna ask you about the, what said the fence line along the bird sanctuary? Why would the first item that you, sorry, Mr. Chairman, hang on.
The first item of trees that we requested Monmouth County to take down from the municipality.
The municipality put in a request,
They asked me, Nick asked me to contact Monmouth County Shade Tree.
so that's a good thing for the Shade Tree Commission to know, just to keep them in the loop. If that goes out in writing, you can copy the Shade Tree.
I'll ask Nick if he can. do that.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Well,
You
know,
so which side of the fence are the trees on? that are-
the only trees that we asked them to take down are east of the bird sanctuary. There's a dead Norway maple at the T intersection of Harding.
Yeah, I can picture.
That's been dead for 3 years.
So my question is, if you, along the bird sanctuary.
No, it's east of the bird sanctuary.
Oh, got you, okay.
Between the east end of the bird sanctuary and the intersection of Fairhaven and Ridge. So
Yeah.
there,
Not
Yeah.
Fairhaven, not Fairhaven.
yeah, Fairhaven Road and Ridge.
Well, then it would take in that section along where the
No, the
fence.
trees, that's what I asked them to look at. There were 3 dead sugar maples that were in the area of the community garden soccer field. There was a plum tree that was further up before the intersection of Hance and Ridge. That's the one that I'm sure the resident took it down. It was all piled up in front of us. It's fine. It was deader than stone. You know, it shouldn't have been, but it was fine. It was in the county right away anyway. They didn't care. I asked them, no, it's right. And then the only large one is the dead Norway maple that is directly opposite where the T intersection is for Harding. You've got the curve that goes by the monument and
It's a
then
whole section, it's not just where the bird sanctuary is. You're talking about Fairhaven Road to almost,
that is what they asked me to look at
West
for
end.
dead trees in that stretch.
okay,
That was from Nick. There were 6 of them.
I think we're just catching up. I was trying to orient myself to.
Well, this was, we started asking them, they went through some changes out there. And then Steve was ill, he was out for like 6 weeks, my contact. I want to say we started looking at this before the 4th of July.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing for the commission to know, just so they, because they're tracking things with the tree inventory and their permitting process. Like,
That's fine, it has never been done before, but I'll tell Nick that's the way they want to do it, that's fine with me.
I think.
I have no problem with that.
Communicate.
We get a report of residents' trees.
But don't forget, these belong to the
Like I
county.
just forwarded you the last report from Nick of expected work.
Okay.
Frontier at, on Columbus Day when school's out. Like, because it's all school related areas. Yeah, he sent us updates. Great.
And the county doesn't have to ask us to take them down, they're theirs.
Yeah, it's just a communication thing.
No, I know, and well, this is why I always try and talk to them, this is why they didn't know what in the world was going on. And I don't know who hired the tree company that the town used.
I'll make sure that gap gets closed, because I understand.
Because there's another issue there, but I want to make sure before I say something about it that I'm 100% accurate. I don't believe the company that was used was line certified. And I saw them up right next to a 13,200 volt line. You better know what you're doing if you're up there. And I know all the companies that line certified, know them all. I don't believe these guys were, but that probably falls on the contractor, because I imagine this tree guy was a sub for the guy doing concrete work. If I had to guess, that's normally the way it works. The bid goes out, these trees are included in the bid for removal.
Yeah.
There may or may not be replacement trees included. And then they are responsible to get bids from their subcontractors, and they select who they want. They may not even have known that he had to be line certified, so the trees are down, but they got Borough works. Going forward, that's something,
And this is for a new sidewalk, you said,
I believe so.
which is on Ridge.
All
I'm
right.
so confused where we're talking about.
I know,
There-
the sidewalk, the tree removal that Bill's talking about is the outside the scope of that sidewalk.
The other ones county is doing as a request from the
I
municipal.
think that's what had me confused too, buddy.
So, all the conifers that were taken down on a northwest corner
Oh, I
of
see.
Harrison and Ridge were part of that.
Sidewalk.
There was a mulberry, I think 3 red maples, maybe in Norway. And I'm not sure what that other deciduous tree was, but there was a fair number of trees, and county was kind of surprised. And Steve asked me about it, and I said, I didn't know anything about it either, boys. So,
All right, so we'll work on our communication loop.
yep,
I guess.
that's
going
easy.
forward. Anything else there, Mr. Brooks?
The ongoing battle with bacterial leaf scorch. From what I have been able to glean from conversations with the scientists, it's kind of like AIDS, will keep you alive, but you're gonna die. And there's nothing that's really
And it's
we can
contagious.
delay it.
It's very contagious.
But in the Oaks, yeah, it's all over Fairhaven, it's all over Red Bank. Ocean probably stands to lose between 46 and 60% of their oak canopy in the next 8 years, for what I can say.
Is there anything to do? Is it
Nothing.
spraying? Is it taking
Nothing.
down infected? Is it?
Nothing.
What about cutting back anything that you see? Like if you happen to see it in your yard,
The guys that,
cut
the
everything back.
scientists say that, yeah, you trim out the real dangerous dead stuff that if it gets loose, it's gonna be a problem, but there's just nothing that works, unfortunately, at this point in time. And that's guys from Morton Arboretum, guys from the Bartlett Company, UPenn. So everybody's looking at it, but we're not getting anywhere. Bartlett thought they had something 2 years ago, it did not pan
So
out at all.
the red oaks are gonna go the way of ash trees?
The red oak family gets beaten up by it more than the white oaks, the ones that seem to be the most susceptible. My own observations are the pin oaks. They seem to have the worst problem with it. It'll get the reds, the blacks, scarlets, any of the red oaks, it'll get all of the oaks, but the red oaks seem to have to be the most susceptible.
They're the ones with the leaves though.
Well, there's a couple things doing that, but the bacterial leaf scorch is the one that kills them. That's a problem. The only good thing about it, as opposed to the ash trees, when those ashes are dead, after 2 years of being dead, they start to get really weird and they start to shed big pieces. The oaks will hang on longer than that from a safety standpoint, so you don't have to move with quite as much rapidity to get them the heck out. Which for some people, I mean, these are gonna be large trees, God bless, and will involve significant expenditure by residents. And we have to be well aware of it in the parks, because there are a lot of red oak varietals over here. Not so many in the Fairhaven fields, there are some back in the woods there, but not like they are over here.
Carter is.
Yeah, in a New Carter Park, and all through, River Oaks, those are 85% of them are in the red oak family in there.
So,
So as far as the leaf scorch, it's really just a matter of fingers crossed and hope for the best.
Correct, at this point in time, that is pruned for safety, and, the problem is the leaves lay on the ground and it spreads that way, very much like fire blight in apples. If you don't get all infected leaves off the ground, it's coming back. But right now, there's nothing we can do about it. Water them during drought, normal palliative care for a tree. But right now, there's just nothing we can do.
Bill, is there anything preventative to do?
No.
No.
To the best of my knowledge, Peter, the answer is no. They are looking along that vein, for an inoculation type treatment.
Yeah.
But as of right now, there is just, there isn't anything going on that works.
Got it. Okay. All right, anything,
No
Anything
line trimming forecast for
Okay.
us this year, other than emergency stuff. But I do know there is gonna be some money available in terms of what they didn't use up on this year's trimming cycle. So if we have any big ones that are up over the wires, we might be able to get some help that way. I know a couple that are suspect, but they're not at the point now where I think we have to act on them. But if we do find one, we could probably save some money for the town by getting the utility line trimming crews to get it below the energized conductors for us, and then let our contractor take it from there.
okay. All right.
May I, have a clarification, if I could, Mr. Chairman?
Sure.
At the last meeting, I believe it was at the last meeting or last couple meetings, there was a discussion about the disease of trees. Now, the report you were just making, I reported at the council meeting, because I think there's shared concern beyond the commission about this among residents, but I didn't know what it was. At the time, we didn't know.
Oh, well, I had mentioned bacterial leaf scorch before, but that's what it is. They either refer to it as BLS or bacterial leaf scorch. It's a bacterium. And
That's confirmed now,
it is nasty.
but I mean, we've been able to confirm that that is the disease. It does.
That
spread.
is one of there's a lot of different leaf funguses out there right now, but most of them don't have the effect that the bacterial leaf scorch. I mean, there's bullseye rust funguses on them, but there's some other ones, but they won't kill the tree like this thing.
Okay.
And a lot of that is temperature, humidity related. Hot and
Well,
humid, we get a lot of
There
them.
you go. So, but in the winter time, does it kill the bacteria? Does it cold
The,
kill them?
the bacterial leaf scorch, this is real scientific. It's weird. Maybe it's very adaptive. I don't know enough about it. I'm learning, but I really don't know that much about it, but I'm talking to the best guys there are. And, talking among the guys that I respect, and we're all at the same thing. We're gonna take a lot of oak trees down. Well, they won't do that anymore.
I'm still just curious, so when people, if I have an infected tree in my yard and I put the leaves out on the street. And they go in,
I don't know that that's one of the venues that it's probably traveling by. That's supposition on my part entirely. But I don't know what else you do. How are you gonna scatter these?
well, it'd be good to know if that was the case. I mean, if we're,
Well, I don't know the answer to that. I can ask. I know somebody that might have, will certainly have more scientific educated opinion on that than I do. But
well,
if
it would
somebody
be important
has.
to know if the leaves.
Yeah, but you would never be able to segregate it, because once the wind starts blowing, the leaves from your house or your neighbor's yard, I don't know how you would determine it once they're curled up and they're dead.
I'm just
on the
saying,
ground.
people just blow their leaves into their own beds instead of sharing them on the street and mixing
Well,
them.
yeah, but you want to get rid of this stuff. You don't want to retain the leaf matter. That's the problem.
So I'd like the science, just for the sake of public communication. So I left it that it was open and being
Well,
investigated.
let me see what I can find out for you that there is information to support, and it is not, a lot of this is supposition on our part because we don't know. So some guys are going this way, some guys are going that way, but so far you can delay it, but you can't stop it.
Okay, well, if you could get something.
Well, I'm
then-
trying because I've got a hell of a lot more to deal with down the ocean.
Okay, let's just
I-
then, if we could get the information and maybe bring it to the next meeting or,
Can't promise you
or-
for the next one, Mr. Chairman, but as soon as I get it, you'll have it.
Yeah, and we could probably maybe do some research. Well, that up at all the information that's available at Rutgers online, I've found. pretty
There's a fair
helpful.
amount there. Rutgers has got a lot.
Okay.
The guys at Bartlett Tree, their scientists have got a lot, and Morton Arboretum's got a lot.
Okay.
I'll get you what I can as quickly as I can, but
Okay. Yeah. If you happen to come across anything, that'd be great. It'd be very
Sure.
helpful.
no
As
problem.
to along to the residents. Okay.
You're done with me and nobody has any questions. I'm gonna go get my lunch and then I'm gonna get my dinner.
There you go. Anybody else? Anybody questions?
A good one, Bill, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Ben.
Hey, thanks,
Feel
Bill.
better, Chris, quickly.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Right, take care all.
All right, we're gonna move on to the 2024 meeting dates. We're gonna take a vote. This is where we have to fill out the calendar for next year. Obviously, we've been meeting once a month, with the exception of July. I think August was fairly lightly attended. I know summers are tough for most everybody. Any thoughts, feelings on continuing with once a month, with the exception of July and possibly August? I don't know. What is everybody thinking?
Fine with that schedule,
With the existing schedule?
the existing one.
Yeah, I am too.
I
Okay,
agree. Yeah.
all right.
So the first Wednesday of the month, 7:30 PM. Excluding July.
Sound good for everybody?
Possibly August, if we don't have the numbers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I guess we'll let the chips fall where they may. All right.
I mean, the only conflict I saw was spring break week is that first week in April, so, but I don't know if you wanna try to find another date, or we just see if we have a quorum.
I think for simplicity's sake, I think we should leave it rather than try to pick a date this far in advance.
I would agree.
I'm sure we're gonna wind up with a conflict somewhere along the line with another meeting or something, you know. All right, I make a motion to take a vote on the 2024 calendar once a month, first Wednesday of every month, 7:30.
Second.
Second, third, fourth. All right, all in favor?
I,
No opposition that I can see.
No, you can say the audio kind of cuts out. I didn't hear any nays though, but
Yeah, no opposition.
all right, very good. All right, moving on to the tree inventory grant update. Jill Sullivan, I don't know that we have an update. Jill is in transit. She's on mute. Still on mute. There you
Yeah,
go.
sorry.
No worries.
Yes, so I don't really have an update this month. We're still waiting on hearing whether or not we will receive the grant. I'm expecting that this month. So as soon as I know, I will let you all know.
That's the one. Jill, was it towards the end of the month a potential award? I guess we're calling
It was, I feel like it was in the mid-20s is
Okay.
what I have in my brain.
Okay. Very
No
good.
guarantees that that's correct.
All right. Hopefully we'll have some good news for the next meeting.
I hope so.
All right, very good. All right, Green Team Natural Area and Environmental Roundtable update, Bonnie Torcivia. Bonnie, thank you again for attending that roundtable on behalf of the Shade Tree Commission.
oh, my pleasure.
Thank you, Bonnie.
So it was pretty much just a discussion. There was a lot of discussion on stormwater management and on the deer problem. It wasn't really an agenda but everybody was just kind of discussing those two main. The stormwater ordinance has got to be tightened up. I mean, that's a statewide requirements, and so it is definitely. I know part of the event, the Shade Tree Federation conference that I'm going to. There's something on stormwater management that I'm hoping to attend. Obviously, trees are an important part of helping to soak up water. So, you know, that is important. And the deer just seems to be a lot of discussion, no firm ideas on how to deal with that, but, you know, the natural area, would love to see that taken care of too. And Kelly Flanagan is hoping that the green team is one of our actions. We'll work on our water story, kind of a townwide, you know, why we have a stormwater problem, where it's coming from, where it's going. So I think that would be a great idea. I think it'd be really interesting for the kids to all learn about that too. They did not set a schedule for the next meeting, but, it's interesting to hear, you know, it's a great idea to get everybody talking, you know, just meeting each other and sharing ideas. I think it would be great if we had a, you know, what do you want to share, and ahead of time people, you know, or an issue to discuss. There wasn't really an agenda set up, but I think that would be kind of helpful going forward. So
Is it a quarterly thing? I feel like they were trying to do it quarterly, but
yeah,
it didn't happen.
I think
you
it
know,
got
one at the
canceled for a
beginning of the
couple-
year, and then this.
Yeah.
And the last one was in the first quarter, the second quarter, something came up with Brian because summer happened and.
Okay.
Brian Rice dictates the schedule and
And
he's the head of it.
Did he say anything to you about the clean ocean action white paper and the recommendation?
He said that he's gonna find it and forward it to me to search. There's an environmental commission meeting next Wednesday, so.
Hopefully all of that, okay.
Okay.
Okay, and, the green team, we had what's it called, bike to school, bike and roll to school day was today national, and, had a tables off front of Millwood and Sickles and gave the kids stickers and had them play a game, or, you know, ask them questions about bike safety, and it was, very successful. It was really fun. They all had a good time and they could put their names in for prizes. The green team also has started to spend their grant for their pollinator garden on Third Street Trail. If you walk down the trail, you'll see some new plants at that corner, right in the middle. And if you have any plants you'd like to donate, native plants, you're more than welcome to. We would love to collect more. The natural area, met with Monmouth County Park System, to try to figure out a plan for the cell tower, the northwest corner by the cell tower. Because they cleared it out, they cut everything down. There are a lot of invasives still lurking, and the park system just dealt with an area that was very similar. It was all overgrown, and they cut it down. They treated it with a chemical, Garland A or something, not quite as bad as Roundup. And they planted grass seed to grow it. Grass seed grows with this chemical on it, and so you kind of grow back and you get a cover crop, and then you see then you could seed plants and wildflowers, and then see what trees. So that's kind of their plan. They're gonna start redoing that next spring, mowing, maybe spraying it, talking with Dave Carl from DPW, and then seed it with grass and add some new trails in there. So something to look forward to. If you're a dog walker and you like walking around the natural area, hopefully that area will be restored in the near future, in the next couple of years. So.
Great. Anything else?
I don't think so.
All right. Thank you, Bonnie.
Mhm.
We're moving on to community outreach. I guess Leah is not here, correct?
No, she asked me to let you know that she now has 173 followers and a few additional pre-fact graphics that she made and will be posting shortly.
Okay. Sounds good. Brings us to the resident tree buying program, our highly successful resident tree buying program, I should say. Jill, any updates or comments?
I think just since last we met, the trees have been planted. So that's fantastic. They planted over 2 days. I guess it was it last week that was a super rainy week?
Yeah.
Yes. So they planted Tuesday and Wednesday. We've gotten a few pictures of residents with their trees. I'd love to collect a few more. But I've only heard good things, so let's knock wood and hope that is just where it's going to land. And I've been approached separately by some residents asking when we're going to do it again. So, you know, if it's okay, you know, I don't know if there's any reason for us to say we would not do it again, but, you know, unless we hear otherwise, I would say that we should plan to do this again in the spring.
100%. I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
Joe, and thank you for the Kwanzaa cherry trees were purchased through that program as well. So thank you, Jill. That was
Yeah.
Oh
I
yeah.
know, I know both of the winners were really excited about it. So thank you.
Yeah, they look great. I mean, the trees are all a really nice size. So, you know, so far
Yeah.
so good, I think. Yeah.
Jill, did you have any luck? Were they looking for a Christmas tree from there?
Oh gosh, Bonnie, I'm so sorry. I didn't do it. Sorry. Yeah.
No.
Okay.
It doesn't sound like we'd have a place
mean,
to put it just yet anyway. I guess that's getting a little more complicated anyway.
Yeah, I actually just walked in my house, so I'm going to put a post-it on my computer like right now.
There you go.
And I'll remember to email them tomorrow. Just for reference. I mean, knowing that we don't really have a place for it at the moment, I could just, you know, ask them what their Christmas tree situation is.
Might be a spring planting. Who knows? We'll be good.
Yeah. Maybe we could tie that in. So sorry, Bonnie. I know I said last time I would remember and I did not. So
I'm hoping we can time this with an Arbor Day spring planting. Do you think that's an idea?
it's an idea. I think it depends more on it depends on Fernbrook, really. Like I assume at some point they are going to do whatever sort of inventory they need to do before the spring season happens. That's what they did for us for fall. They did an inventory in July. And then we had the discussion about what was available. So I haven't spoken with them about our plans for the next, for the next season. But, I can't see why that wouldn't be able to happen if that works within their time frame of their inventory. I mean, it wouldn't, I don't know when Arbor Day is next year, what day of the week, but they're clearly not going to be doing this like on a Sunday.
Always Friday,
but-
the last Friday of April.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, maybe it could happen. I mean, we would have to ask them. I don't know if they would, I don't know what their schedule is, obviously.
Yeah, popular planting time.
Okay. All right. Well, that brings us to the Christmas tree replacement. I guess Mike did not pop in either. Christy, did he happen to pass along any updates on that? I know there were some emails going back and forth about coordinating and approvals and.
I was on one recently with Teresa asking about an estimate to remove the trees that the shade tree is recommending removing in Memorial Park. In order to center the new tree. I don't know, Tracy, you might know more.
That's what I know, that they were gonna get some quotes.
Okay.
I was gonna chase that out, some quotes.
All right. I'll ask Mike to follow up and give us something for the next meeting. Salem location. Sorry.
There was additional communication regarding, remember Rich's comments about the cabling?
Yes, that was a while ago.
This was all in an email, but Rich Gardella had some cautionary advice about using the cables. Apparently in the past, they've actually tried it. Christy, if I'm wrong about this, I'm going by.
Yep, no, you are right.
Oh, I saw that email as well.
Okay.
Yeah. That was to use the cut tree.
Correct.
It was, all the wind and weather was causing a lot of hazards and safety issues.
With a cut tree.
So
Yes.
that was some additional,
Feedback.
feedback on it. And then Teresa just indicated that she was inclined to weigh Rich's 2 cents substance. Obviously, we don't want to think the tree blown over it. But anyway, if there's anything beyond that, I'm not aware of it, but that's the full extent of what's been conveyed so far.
Okay. Very good. Moving on to the Salem Oak locations, Bonnie. If you want to take it, you and I had a nice bike ride a few Sundays ago.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And, well, first, I met with, Mrs. Schwartz, the principal at Sickles, just to say, what do you think about this location, right behind the sign at McCarter Park? And she said that would be great, and, she loved the idea. She said, this is respect month at Sickles, and they're trying to teach the kids respect, so if they teach them respect for the trees, like, because I said that there was a little concern about this special tree being there, and she said, no, we'll, you know, fence it in, we'll teach the kids to respect it. So getting her approval, then Chris and I met and, kind of spotted out 2 spots, because we have 3 trees, so, but one kind of center stage, and then another one, there's room that's not part of the playing area. And then we went over to, William Albert Robards Park. And the picture that was sent out to everybody, I think, Chris was kind of staying in the middle of the park, but then DJ Breckenridge weighed in and said that people like to throw the frisbee around, so maybe move it closer to the benches in the front. So, I think we'll try that.
That seemed like a pretty good
It
idea,
did
actually.
seem like a good idea.
Shade the bench.
Yeah.
But I said, I know they have sprinklers there, so somebody would just have to, in addition to a mark out, they would have to just flag
Sure,
the heads, so we don't cut anything.
right.
And Christy, I had asked Christy if she might help with the markouts, since I couldn't get it done last time. And I don't know if you had.
Well, it has to be approved by the government.
Yeah.
So-
We did do we sent a memo, drafted a memo
Yes.
and sent it off to council. And
I'll
our councilwoman Cole is gonna push that through. Just like our last memo that we sent to council, that
And I mean, I personally think those are nice locations.
Yep.
And the. And the only,
do a good impression.
request is
We're being
for
trees.
mark out, flag the sprinkler heads, and then who's doing the installation? I mean, they're so small.
They are so small.
How will it be protected at the park?
Fencing.
And
Fencing.
like,
And we were thinking about like
nice fencing?
5 foot, maybe green wire
Mhm.
fencing. High enough.
And how long do we think the fencing will have to be? I'm trying to anticipate questions the council might have about.
I think it kind of depends how quickly these trees grow. But I would say, and we'll make sure it's a big enough circle, it's mulched, it's, you know, we're staked, we'll make sure it's secure. I mean, at least a year
Or two, I was.
but I don't think it's, you know, highly trafficked right behind the sign at McCarter. I don't think that's where there's paths all around. Right,
I don't want that to be a reason that we don't just get it okay, you know, so I'm just trying to anticipate. Okay, it's green, it's 5 feet, it's somewhat permanent, it's gonna stay there for a few years, and.
18 months, sounds nice.
You think?
2 years?
I said, well, why don't I say 18 months, and then it'll be reevaluated depending on how
Yes.
fast the tree grows,
Right.
is that okay? Okay. And then the request is for the mark out that the sprinkler heads be identified,
Yeah.
flagged, and then who's doing the install? Do we not have?
I'm happy to do it.
Yeah, we were talking about maybe the
Make the
shade
shade
tree,
tree do
and I asked Mrs. Schwartz, we were just kind of discussing, we could work this out of some of the kids, I mean, you know, I don't know, you can have all these kids digging a hole, but,
Oh, okay, that's so
yeah,
cute.
or they could throw back the dirt in, I'm not sure, you know, it'd be fun to have them participate, I mean, right now, we just, Mark and I went over, and the kindergartners collected acorns, and they collected so many acorns, I've never seen so many. These 4 big buckets of acorns, and we're supposed to take them over to the 7th graders, the Noble kids are gonna grow them. You know, do the floating test, make sure they're viable, and then plant them, so we have a lot of acorns, so they were very excited to do this, and Ms. Schwartz also said the 3rd graders restarted the newspaper at Sickles.
Cute.
And they wanted to write an article in the Salem, the newspaper, so I sent her
That's really
history about it. So, hopefully they can say this was planted in, the park and they tell the history and so hopefully we can.
I love it.
If we can get that.
Great idea. Great idea.
What's the Sickles newspaper called?
I'm not sure what it's called. Sorry.
The nightly new, no, I forgot. It just started last year.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay.
All right, moving on to the tree removal permit data. Christie, I know you circulated that around.
Thank you.
Yeah, this was, Leah had taken it upon herself at the last meeting to speak with Bill about trends but she didn't give an update on that.
Okay.
But since the last meeting, there haven't been many new, there's a lot outstanding right now, but since the last meeting, there haven't been many new approvals.
Nothing new. Okay. Imagine this is going to slow with construction too.
There's one denial that's gonna be heard at the council meeting on Tuesday.
Which ones?
6th Street. The new construction.
Six.
Right across from the road.
Oh, that, is there's a big tree there? I know
Not
that.
big, not big, but there's,
It's a small lot.
yeah, it would violate the 20% more of 20%, more than 20% of property trees.
Who's the builder there?
Alley builders. I think they're an ocean port, little silver.
Any questions or comments on that?
No.
I was surprised. I have like 14 trees I have to take down at my mom's house that are all dead. And I called Little Silver and they don't care. It was just shocking. I was like, is there forms? Is there anything? They're like, nope, you can do whatever you want. It was pretty sad. So
That might change if people keep doing stuff like that. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly.
they're all dead or on the ground already. So
Oh, gotcha. All right, then that brings us to the council and tree preservation ordinance update. Councilwoman Cole.
Well, I can share with you that, it's all buttoned up at this point. I think the mayor wants a chance to look it over, and then when there's an opportunity to put it on the agenda, I'm sure that'll happen, but, at the moment, I think just gonna do a little review, it's prerogative. We'll see, I'll hopefully have more information for you at the next meeting.
Okay. Sounds good.
Trying to think of I wanted to recap, I think, with the number of tools and programs that the Shade Tree Commission has kind of gathered, between your resident tree program. I have to say, what Christy has done with tracking this information is a game changer. I remember beginning of last year trying to get this information. I had to, well, it doesn't matter what I had to do. The point is, it gives you a really clean, clear picture of what's happening. And obviously you have the resource of you and Christy and the tree expert and Bill Brooks. And once the new ordinance is in place, you'll also have you do have a shade tree trust reserve. It's not what you use right now to trade with homeowners who want to remove trees, but you have the ability to plant trees in public land. I guess I wanted to kind of cap it and just say, it's been, you kind of built these things over time, and you guys are doing a really solid job as a commission.
Thank you.
one
Thank you,
word.
Gracie. Appreciate it.
There's one other thing, sir. This is the time of year, when you want to contemplate, an annual report that would be presented to the governing body. And it's a look back over the
Yep.
year, and then maybe a look ahead as to, maybe one thing you'd like to accomplish or do. Oh yeah, I forgot to include the tree inventory, which we should hear back this month, right, Christy?
Mhm.
So, maybe you'll even have that go next year. But the look ahead would be an opportunity for the governing body to hear what you anticipate will be a priority in 2024. And then also to be aware in case there's any funding changes, funding allocations that would be required for whatever it is you want to do. I don't think you're looking at anything like that, just wanted to mention. And then Allison and the mayor will determine a time for me to actually attend the council meeting, get a 5-minute slot and deliver your annual report.
Okay, yep, just like last year. All right.
Yeah.
I'll put some notes together. All right.
Do we have?
Thank you, Tracy.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, to interrupt, but, we just planted 56 trees or have,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And,
With the buying program.
yeah, and how many have been cut down
I think
today?
it's 140 something.
This is all the trees that have been cut down? This is what
On
this-
private property.
It's true, private property.
Right, but these were all on private property, these trees that are
Yes,
the resident.
yes.
Right, that's true.
Yeah, so I just,
But now you have a way to track it. There's the story you can tell now. Well, if you do a fall planting at 56 trees, you do a spring planting and another, who knows what.
Okay.
You know,
And,
really
keep
start
them, let's not get discouraged. I mean, some of these trees on this list were dead.
Yeah, a lot more, a lot more.
right. It
Yeah.
would be great to get it planting more than taking down,
That's it.
right?
Oh, yeah.
And that theme, that'd be a great goal to have, is,
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
You're-
I think we're gonna get there. Hold on.
yeah.
But Tracy, you raise a good
I
point
think
that
we're on
if
our
we could
way.
start keeping track and keeping score, we're going to be able to measure it and then better understand what we're accomplishing.
Yeah.
When we submit, the borough submits their sustainable Jersey application, which they were just awarded silver for in the fall. There's a huge report required by the shade tree about, and I have to calculate basically public and private, try to figure out all the trees that's been planted and net it out, so. We try our best to figure it out, but these numbers exist somewhere.
I think we're heading in the right direction.
Here, here.
Thank you, Christy.
Yes,
What would we do
she
without
does a
her?
lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Anybody have any proposed new agenda items for the next meeting?
That's the annual report. If you put it on your agenda, you can collect.
Yep. Okay. Anyone else? All right, then we're going to move on to public participation. Christy, do we have any public participants?
Not here at Borough Hall, but online, if you have a question, please use the raise hand feature and I will bring you over. There are no questions.
Okay, then. I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Second.
Second. In favor? I can't see. Oh, everybody,
Yes.
gotta speak up. There we go. Eyes, yep. All right, gotcha. All right, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank
Work.
you.
Have a good evening.
You too.
Thank
Feel
you.
better.
Good night, all.
Yeah.
Good
night.
everybody.
That's
That
terrible.
was just-